Happy New Year! Wednesday, January the 1st, 2020 today. Where did 2019 go? I don't even know. So, down here in the grow room this morning. I was actually down here and working last night a bit. I didn't record anything. So, a couple of changes. Let's take a look, see where I'm at. I'm working on a few projects today. Some here in the grow room, some one project for Samantha in her office. Hopefully going to get to an internet network issue we have here in the house and straighten that out. And then other than that, it's paperwork. End of the year paperwork. I'm not looking forward to that, but it's got to be done. So, it's a little bit of everything today. So let's take a look here in the grow room and see what's going on. So first off, we got a different cap here. Ended up not going with the temporary rubber expandable that I thought about originally. Reason being, we just don't like to incorporate rubber as much as possible into the system. So I bought a glue to a female thread adapter and a plug, put some Teflon tape on the plug, screwed it in. So downside, I got to use a wrench to get this off, but it can still come off and I can still clean it. So that's the only change on the Dutch buckets. This is just the caps for the couple of the rails I got set over there, but so yeah, otherwise no change on the Dutch buckets, but it does not leak. They are operational. So I did order seed over the weekend, so that should be here. I ordered all of the garden seed for this summer, and I ordered the herbs seed for here. Right now, and not necessarily in any order, but the plan is to have basil, oregano, sage, thyme. I'm missing one. Basil, oregano, sage, thyme, rosemary. Okay, so that's the plan that we're going to try. All right, over here on the rails, I changed out there as well, both of them, the caps, to the same type of connection that I have on the Dutch buckets. This has not had any water ran through it, so I'm just going off of the fact that the Dutch buckets leaked, so I'm going to assume that these are going to leak. That still runs down into the tote there for the reservoir. Okay, now I've got a 1/2-inch pipe there. This is new. This 1/2-inch pipe runs up at an angle, goes up behind to an elbow, bends, continues along, comes down here, and it actually goes into a T. Okay, so that's that pipe coming in there. It comes into a T here. This T feeds an entire rectangular shaped pipe here, and each one of there's a T off that's threaded on one side, comes up to a ball valve. I've got some adapters in here, so this is a 1/2-inch T, 1/2-inch thread. This goes to a 1/4-inch ball valve. These ball valves are brass, but they are NSF rated, so they're food rated. Comes up to a 1/4-inch nipple, 1/4-inch elbow. This is a 1/4-inch. I think I've showed these before, but it's a 1/4-inch thread to 3/8 hose barb that I have modified to be this little water spray inlet. And then those go into my rails. Notch the end cap of the rail. This cap can sit on there over the top just. Water will then run through the rail. I have an overflow. I do have a hole drilled in the side of the overflow as well down towards the bottom. These are meant to be ebb and flow or flood and drain style rails. Meaning, if you don't understand what that means, the pump will kick on a timer. These will fill up with water. It cannot fill any higher than this overflow. And then the water runs down. When the pump shuts off, the drain hole down here will drain the water down. That way, the net pots are not in water all the time. This pump will kick on 2 to 3 times a day, fill up, flood the rail, the rock wool that's in the net pots that will be hanging down in here will be submerged in water partially, soak up water, and maintain water and moisture until the next cycle. So that's kind of the plan there. So these are not going to be running all the time. It's just going to be, they'll kick on, they'll fill, the timer will shut the pump off, the water will drain, and then it'll go several hours before it does it again. I did have a couple of problems in making this last night. It is all glued together. I busted off one of these 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch adapters. I busted it off right in the PVC. I ended up going out to the garage and getting one of my wood chisels, use a small one, and I jammed it in there, hammered it in there, tapped it so I didn't break the PVC, and then I was able to turn it and twist it out. So luckily enough I had another one. So fixed that problem, but I still have one other problem. You can't see it because it's underneath, but this this elbow snapped open. So I cannot test this rail because it's gonna leak right here on the back side. So I got to get another one of those. Unfortunately, the hardware store is closed. It's New Year's Day. But as long as I leave this valve off and don't run water in this rail, I should be able to run water in the other 3. So next steps here. This side's done. I've got to get the threaded to hose barb adapter on the end of that 1/2 inch line there, and then get a water line ran down into the tote. I'll have to drill a hole in the tote, and then we've got that green pump there is the one that's meant to power this. So that's kind of where I'm at, and then I'll be able to run water through this system and go from there. Good morning.
Morning.
What are you working on today?
Getting all oily.
Oils. And are you working on your office or?
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, your boards are warming up, so I can work on your project a little later. So.
Which we can show later.
Yep, we'll show that a little later on. But for now, back to work with us, and we'll check in with you later. So what's your project?
So my project, because I want to have more affirmations for 2020 being visible, I want to hang these. These are glass whiteboards. So they're just
glass dry erase boards. Where did you get these?
Walmart. And guess what? $14.74 or something like that each. But I don't pay full price on a lot of these things. I got it for $2.
$2. How many of these do you have?
How many of these do I have? What, 6?
So are you going to use all 6 of them, or?
I don't know yet, but I know We're gonna hang them. One's gonna go about here, and then one over here, and then down and down. So there'll be 4.
Yeah, so these are 14 by 14. We're going to hang 4 of them. So we're going to end up with 28 wide and 28 tall. We're going to start basically right up below the heat vent. We don't want to screw into the block wall, so I'm going to hang them. There's on the back side of the vent duct there is a room where I can get up to the floor joist. So I'm put a 2x4 across the floor joist and then hang some plywood down along the wall. That way we can screw these to the plywood and hang them there, so she can have a they're actually magnetic too, so she'll have a magnetic whiteboard up there so that she can write stuff and whatever. So that's what this project's up to, so we'll check back with it later, but that's what we're up to, is hanging these, there you go, hang these whiteboards up on the wall for her. So alright, we've got, I drilled another hole there in the corner of the tote, and we've got the hose hooked up. The pump is in the tote, so we are all hooked up now. So we're gonna give this a shot. I can't use again this front top rail because of that leaked that split in that elbow down there. The back one I can use, however I have that one off right now. I do have these 2 rails. I've got them turned on down there, and they are ready. The valves are turned on full. So alright, we're gonna give this a shot. So I've got it plugged into a timer, but I'm gonna turn the timer on. We got water running. The other reason I put valves on there is so I can slow it down if need be. But so far, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit of water drainage through the side holes, which is fine. It hasn't come up to the top yet. It looks like this one's filling a little bit faster than the back one is currently. I'm checking all my end caps to make sure that nothing's leaking. Okay, the front rail is just starting to go over the overflow now, so it's at capacity. And the back one's there as well. So that really didn't take long, just a couple of minutes for them to come up to full. So they're both running over, so that didn't take very long for them to come up to full and start running over. Seems to be draining out the bottom okay. So I've been told it's splashing over here, but that shouldn't be a problem once we get the cap on the top. That'll take care of any of that splashing. But right now we've got the tops off, so it's splashing out a little bit. But that should be alright. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on this valve. So now we got water running up there. You know, I could see, and I could just turn these down just a little bit if they're too much. I don't have to turn them off, but I can just turn them to, you know, turn them to like 3/4 or something if need be. One of the other things I was concerned about is because I notched these in, I was concerned about water level, but I mean, they're overflowing now, they're full, and they've still got a good I don't know, 3/4 of an inch maybe between the water level and the bottom of that notch. So we should be all right there. Yeah, those are still overflowing just fine. Top one's not quite full yet. But see, you don't have to have a large amount of water movement through these. You just have to have them fill and then drain, and you don't want them to overpower that drain. So no, they're looking really good. All right, well, we're gonna keep testing this a little bit, make sure everything's all right. The next thing we'll have to do is figure out the spacing to drill the holes through these for the net pots. I'm thinking it's gonna be, one's gonna go down here between the end and the drain. I can't get too close on that end, I gotta stay back a bit, but then the other 11 will be spaced in here. So all right, so far so good. I'm happy. So we'll check back in with you after a while.